What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we create generational wealth and impact for entrepreneurial accountants by systemizing how they add six figures a year with their dream clients.
ROI of 400%.
We're up 436%.
My net profit doubled
year over year. So if you want to win this fancy award, click the link down below. Check out what we got going on. I think you're going to love it. And to help you to do that, irrespective of working with us, I'd like to cover with you a really important topic, which is how to handle last minute tax clients, especially during tax season as the deadline is coming closer and closer and closer. And originally, I was only going to talk about the new people coming in the door and what to do with that late season rush. But we got a really fire comment from Caveman Couple. And shout out to Caveman Couple, because that really forced us to expand how we were thinking about what last minute tax client really means. So be like Caveman Couple, drop a comment down below so we can make sure to expand the conversation to include things that you need to know about. So first, let's tackle the last minute existing client that either dropped something in your lap in the last minute, or when you realize that you're missing maybe an important supporting document or some critical piece of information to complete the return. There is only three ways to handle a sizable change to a tax return when it's the fault of the client for failing to share information with you. And here are the three options. Option one is the worst option, and it is by far the most common option. It's really what not to do. And this is where you tell them, oh, it's not really a big deal that you failed to disclose that sale of a house, or that you lost 150 grand trading in crypto, or that you signed up for a Roth and you didn't tell me, or right, like, usually we just accept this bad behavior with a smile of like, are you kidding me? And a wave of the hand. And really, you're just saying it's okay that you're doing a direct hit to my profitability. And you're reinforcing this bad behavior by saying it's okay. And so let's not be surprised that it happens over and over and over again. So please, seriously, stop taking option one. It's not okay. And it's not okay to pretend like it is. And I'm not going to suggest it is, and neither should you. Okay. Option two, however, this is the most unlikely to take place, but it is the most commonly recommended by consultants. And, you basically weigh the pros and cons of enforcing a policy related to significant changes after the onboarding process, right? You gave them a quote, you onboarded them, and then in the 11th hour, they come in and they shake everything around, and you're just supposed to take it. And so most people will say, well, you have carrots and you have sticks, right? And so you want to use the stick now, and you want to bash them over the head and say, you did this wrong, pay me more money, right? That's basically what a lot of people will tell you to do. So this is the least fun conversation in the world to have, because now some people are like, but I thought I already paid you, and I'm just, I need your help. And you're like, yeah, well, but like you didn't do it the right way. So pay me $500 to change this. And needless to say, you don't want to have that conversation. No one wants to hear that. But people like to act really tough on social media and be like, that's what you got to do. I do it. But they don't share with you that they lose clients all the time, that they have a really bad reputation. And quite frankly, they probably don't even do it that often. They just like to sound tough. And then you go, I should sound tough too. And again, it just doesn't work. So option two is unlikely, but highly recommended. However, there is still some form of wisdom that we can pull from that advice. We just have to treat it a slightly different way. So option three, the third and final option, by far the best option, is the one I want you to use. And this is where you simply inform them of the policy, which more than likely they were not aware of. You may have not even created yet, where you say, hey, because there has been a significant change, you would owe us X dollars, 500, 1,000, 300, whatever you're comfortable with. And so rather than saying, LOL, pay me for an honest mistake, you still position it as saying, look, this is the policy, but here's the deal. since you're a first-time offender, here's what we're going to do instead, okay? You promise me that you'll take that income tax questionnaire, or excuse me, you'll take the tax intake questionnaire more seriously next year, okay? And if you have questions, you'll call me, even though you probably walked them through it one-on-one and handheld them through the whole thing. I know you guys probably did that, but you'll call me and we'll make sure that we get everything ironed out so that we don't have to have this conversation again. Plus, you'll leave me a 5-star review by the end of today. Does that sound fair to you? Yes. Awesome. I'll make the corrections and have the final review to you by the end of the week. But before we go, are you 100% sure there isn't anything else I need to be aware of? Because if something else does come up, I will have to charge you the change fee. You guys know I hate the F word, fee, but I think it's applicable here because it really is a fee. This now gives you the ability, okay, to get something of tremendous value right now. One, you get to inform them of what happens in the future. So they can't go, oh, I didn't know. It's like, no, you clearly knew. You also now get to have a 5-star review, which is kind of hard to generate, but we have a great way of doing that. And again, you get to now enforce the policy for repeat offenders in the future, okay? So that is really, again, the 3 options, option 3 being the best. But that situation does not apply to the caveman couple's question, which is what happens when you realize you're missing something? Now, the hard truth that I will share with them and share with you is that you're paying to learn right now. Because if you realize you're missing something during the preparation of the return, okay, and you thought your tax organizer was perfect, you thought you asked for everything, well, the truth is that you didn't, or you just have missed something that you need to go back and ask for. And look, quite frankly, this is why there is a shortage of qualified tax managers, because it's a skill set that takes a healthy amount of time and expertise and experience to just be able to develop and say, we have everything, we're asking for everything. Are we not? And there's no shame in going back to a client and just asking for what you need. I think that there's a lot of guilt or whatever that we kind of be like, oh, I should have known this, I should have done this better. It's like, I'm going to do better next time around. I have to ask right now. And that's perfectly okay. Everyone makes mistakes, but if you want to make less mistakes in the future, look at what you could have done differently at the start of the relationship, right? To ensure that your workflow doesn't get interrupted the same way again in the future. This increases your efficiency from year to year and allows you to train a superstar team to follow your SOPs to ensure maximum profitability. Now, let's talk about the real last-minute tax clients, not the ones that are existing clients, right? These are more prospective clients that are basically, they're kind of like the people who are like that John Travolta meme where it's like they're like really confused with where they are. And it's like, it's April 6th. The deadline's in 9 days. You're literally in the single-digit column of waiting to get your stuff together and speak and work with a professional. So of course they're confused. They're like, what do you mean 2 weeks before the deadline? What? That's so weird. I had no idea. So the first thing is you don't have to take them on as a client, right? I find that most accounting firm problems can be solved with enforcing standards and using the word no more and more and more frequently. And shout out to Dan Henn, who is an amazing client of ours, an amazing guy. He's got an incredible IRS tax resolution program as well that you should definitely check out. But he shared with me earlier, and this is funny because we covered a Dan Kennedy book in book club, and he shared a quote from Dan Kennedy, which is, if I wake up with thinking about you 3 days in a row and I'm not sleeping with you, you got to go, whether you're a team member, whether you're a client, right? Like I should not be waking up thinking about you, especially in a negative light, 3 days in a row. That's a problem. And so again, it's like learning to say no, removing clients, but also learning to say no to clients that are coming in at the last minute, asking for your help. They probably are not aligning with your dream client profile at all. But there's a chance they align with the majority of it. And there may be some life circumstances that happen to them that required them to wait this long. It happens, right? Like people aren't inherently bad. At least I don't believe that. And sometimes you have to take those considerations into effect. So again, just be advised that it's okay to, one, remove them, and two, say no to the ones that don't meet the profile or are coming in during the busiest time of year. However, if you are willing to work with them, you have to make it super clear it's a privilege to even have you on the phone during this time of year. And that if they're unwilling to pay you in full, I see everyone say, oh, you collected 50% deposit. It's like, no, you're just creating an additional time burden in the future. Okay. Like collect in full, period. Right. If they're unwilling to pay you in full for an extended return, by the end of the call, not by email me a quote, I'll follow up. No, by the end of the call, if you're not giving me credit card information, you're not a client. I don't have time for this right now. So before you even get into whether or not you should be giving them a quote and guiding them through understanding what that quote should be, because again, it depends, right? Different returns are more complex, therefore they're more expensive. You got to give them a range for your tax filing services. Obviously, your simple W-2 income, you're going to be in that kind of, and if you're not sure about this, just look online when you see H&R Block and TurboTax, and TurboTax. I mean, they're starting at $600 a return, even simple W-2 stuff. Now, you can fact check me if you'd like, but again, it's like if you're not in that price range, who are you competing against? Because you're not competing against the cheap filers of the world. So you go, look, we're starting at $800 for a simple return, and we go up as high as $5K, depending on the complexity. Is that within your budget before we go any further? Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. If they're like, no way, you'd be like, okay, great. Have a wonderful day. Good luck getting anyone else on the phone. And then boom, go do something else. You got better time to do it. So again, just save the time if they bulk at all, but give them the price range early in the call so that you can save time and pre-qualify them to see if it's even worth it. Additionally, given the time of the year, supply and demand, low supply, high demand, right? Prices go up. I say this all the time. Prices go up when that happens, except in every field, except for accounting for some reason, but it should. So there is a premium you should charge for being brave enough to take on clients during this time of year and just answering the phone or showing up for a scheduled appointment, ideally a scheduled appointment. And so whatever your normal price is, let's just say for some reason it's $500, or let's just do 1,000, keep the math easy. It's $1,000. That's where you start your tax returns at. Then they say, okay, that sounds fine. Or like you do the mental math. You're like, okay, since it's during the month of April, I'm already charging a premium to help them. So therefore it's a 25% increase. So it's going to be $1,250 for a return right now. Okay. So that's one thing. Just keep in mind that you should be charging premiums for taking on any sort of work in between April 1 and April 15th, period. And even arguably March 15th to April 15th. Last point that I want to make, and I'll give you one extra bonus tip at the end that I really want to bring up. If you do have the bandwidth to file the return on time, okay, because there's a chance that you're relatively in startup mode, or maybe you've got really good processes and your team is really well systemized, you can easily talk to them and say, okay, listen, you really want the return filed by the deadline? God, yeah, for some reason, people are obsessed with this. I don't really know why. They're like, I got to have it done by the deadline, even though extensions exist. They just don't really want to use them for some reason. I got to have it. And so then you just simply go, if you would like it to be filed by the extension, it's an additional $500. Or you have to go on extension. You can save the $500, but that gives us more time to do it. It allows us to do a priority filing. Would you like us to do a priority filing for you? I would. No worries. Okay, so the return is normally $1,250, right? It's $500 for the expedited return, so it's $1,750. What type of car would you like to use? That is fundamentally how you handle the last minute tax season rush. But if you are looking to create more demand, during the last part of tax season. Okay. So this is normally, you already have enough demand, but if you're saying, Tyler, my phone's not ringing, I'm not seeing appointments. People aren't even coming to me saying, help me to file my tax returns. Okay. You should still use prizing, right? You are the prize. You're going to have a hard time finding anyone else. True. So you should still use everything that I just discussed with you. Okay. However, if you're looking to generate more opportunity and more demand, I can't underestimate how important it is to leverage social media to announce that you exist and that you're able and willing to help people during this time of year. And more importantly, if you make an offer around urgency and scarcity, okay, so urgency is always related to time, and there's clearly an important time frame, April 15th, and scarcity is related to the number of clients you can take. You can't take an infinite number of clients. So simply do a capacity analysis and say, I can realistically do 10 more returns, 7 more returns, 5, 3, 11, 20. I don't know what it is, but you do the capacity analysis and you say, this is what I can reasonably do. And then you announce that. And when you stop taking returns, and Dan Henn in the comments section right now said the same thing, right? It's like you set the hard deadline, but make sure you announce the deadline to your prospective clients, both on social media and ideally through an email list as they book appointments, as they do free downloads, as they, whatever it is that you use to be able to get emails. If you can now leverage that to create more demand for your services, if you have the ability to meet it, that is such an easy way to capture a windfall of cash at the end of busy season. So that is fundamentally what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, be sure to comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And please, please, please just remember, extensions are your friend. There's no shame in using them. Say no to people who don't meet your dream client profile, and make sure that you leverage all of the things that were shared with you today: pricing, premium pricing, supply and demand, leveraging a 5-star review for being able to make a change order and letting them know that they have to charge this change order again in the future, to know that that policy is in place for people who are repeat offenders. Thank you so much for investing your most precious time with me. Remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your tax season. Don't let it get to you. You're almost at the finish line. And when you are completely done, maybe it's time to open up the mind and imagine, what does your dream firm look like and how can we help you get there even faster? Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.